Hello and welcome to my individual method mind map. This is Kerry Wolff and this is regarding ORGD 6015, Facilitating Organizational Collaboration and for Spring 2018. Here we have a link to the presentation on Google Docs if you wish to view the presentation on Google Docs. In this, we have an introduction of change, the whole scale system change. We'll talk about the 6 design elements and analysis, our findings, and then our reflections on the change and the whole scale system change. Generally speaking, change occurs to benefit people of communities, organizations, and so on. Change is intended to better the present situation through a strategic vision. This could be quality of life, speed of which we get consumables, financial gain, etc. In this presentation, we'll talk about why we change and how we implement sustainable whole-scale change. Yes, change is hard and no one likes change, but change is the one constant we can always count on. If we never changed, think about what our lives would be like today. For instance, did anyone drive their horse and buggy today? Probably not. Change is typically for the better. We've had great strides in change in environmental, with the ozone, in healthcare advancements, in business. What else can you think of where change has done better for you in your life today? In the past 10 years, in my opinion, one of the most dramatic evidences of successful sustainable change is the transformation of Amazon from an online bookseller to one of the most advanced technological companies of today. In addition to being a technological company, they're a worldwide marketplace, they're filmmakers, and music distributors. Who remembers a time before Amazon? And when Amazon came along, you might have been a little unsure about ordering from them in the beginning. I know I was. Now, who doesn't order from them and do a majority of their shopping through Amazon? In addition to streaming movies, listening to music, listening to audiobooks, etc. How can Amazon continue to morph and grow at the rate it is? It has to do with the company's vision that is shared by its employees and supported by the people that they've gained the trust from, their customers. So we've introduced why we changed, and I've provided some really big examples of change. But change doesn't always need to be big. Change happens in all scales, shapes, and sizes, and there are different methods to support all the change. When we talk about change and what it takes to really have sustainable change, it's whole-scale change. So what is that? In this article, The 5 Truths of Change, Katie and Dane Miller describe whole system change as more than how change affects the entire system. It means that the entire system is involved in creating itself anew. Whole system collaboration and change is a way to engage the entire community, whatever that is, business, family, departments, in the change process. In change, there must be clear purpose of why we need to change, and that the people will be affected by the change must be part of the process at all levels. If the people help to create change, there will be commitment to the change and ensuring its success. In the article Mastering Change by Katie, Matthews, and Matthews, it outlines 6 defined design elements that have been consistent with whole system change. Although there are over 60 different methods to facilitating change, these are the constant design elements that appear in each of those methods according to various studies. Those are system, purpose, journey, evidence, values, and model. There are numerous methods to manage change, but the methods reviewed for this presentation include appreciative inquiry, open space, charoots, future search, graphic facilitation, balanced scorecard, collaborative loops, and real-time strategic change. Although the first 6 methods were signed, the additional 3 were chosen by me because they focus on teams, collaboration, and results. Each method has a clear goal and purpose, and the teams are engaged in the change process. This is important. If the team doesn't know what they are going to achieve, they likely won't achieve anything. I also like the visual component of the methods like Balanced Scorecard, where you know exactly how you're doing to plan. The visual management is intended to keep teams on track to accomplish the goals, and visual management is something I'm personally a fan of. If you can see it, you will achieve it. Otherwise, in my opinion, if the goal is out of sight, it will also be out of mind, and then your change is not successful or sustainable. We started our analysis with an affinity diagram, and according to the book Game Storming, affinity mapping is described as a common method that uses meaningful space to sort a large set of nodes into a few common themes. We use affinity diagramming or affinity mapping in this process to take our methods of change and dissect their attributes into common themes. When we do this into the different methods, we see how they are structured differently and how they are alike, how many people are part of the methods, and so on. I started with an affinity diagram, and I chose to use Excel for this part. I took each of the 8 methods discussed and reviewed and dissected them to document their different attributes of the respective method. Any attribute that stood out to me, I documented on the spreadsheet. Next, I tried to identify the different design elements of purpose, journey, etc. in each method with a color, so I could group them together and determine what the like attributes are for each of the design elements. Once the attributes were color-coded in the Excel document, I enlisted the help of my trusty assistant and daughter, who helped me write each of the attributes on a colored Post-it and group them together on paper so we could better see what the common themes are for each of the design elements. We tried to keep true to our color coding process. We started with the affinity diagram, which was helpful to keep them grouped together and see the different themes. Next, I took the themes from the affinity diagram groupings and distributed them into a mind map format, which I probably lost my mind a little bit while doing, as you can probably see. This is my mind on a lot of caffeine. I did my mind map on the iPad, so it is my handwriting. It is a bit messy, hard to read, and a little colorful, kind of like my mind. But from this exercise, I was able to see the patterns emerge in a different way. I was a bit limited on my space to write out the mind map on the iPad, which made it a bit difficult. But what really stuck with me is that we could really connect all the lines to the different design elements. So as an example, resilience. I had resilience as part of the journey, but I could also see resilience as part of the value that could be held by teams. So you could see that in both categories. I found this concept to be a little mind-blowing and really out of my comfort zone. And to be honest, this being my first mind map ever done, I don't feel like I probably took it as far as I could, and I want to continue working on this to see where I can take it as I continue to evolve it so I can utilize this concept in other aspects of the program and work. So what we knew would happen is coming out of the affinity diagramming and also the mind mapping, patterns emerged. The methods chosen can be used in a variety of different situations when it comes to systems, from small departments to big organizations to planning communities. They all have in common the fact that there are common goals and aligned strategy at the heart of them. They engage the people that will be affected in the process. Each of the methods has a clear and distinct why there is a need for change. What will the change accomplish? Getting the change agents to understand, see the why, and be engaged in the why will help connect the vision and drive the change towards the desired results. Journey can be taken different ways depending on what method you choose. You may have an open space method that's very unstructured, or Charut's method, which is very structured. No matter what method you choose, each part of the journey has common attributes of having an objective and a plan, the ability to listen to those involved, encourage and have cross-functional collaboration with teams, and build that stakeholder engagement. Those are the common attributes of journey. Evidence is the espoused and attended effect of change. This is evidence that methods chose will work. According to Mastering Change, there are 3 requirements of evidence: experience and knowledge, theory and research, and direct and indirect examples. For me, I found the common attributes of evidence would be sustainability, stakeholder commitment, shared strategy, and of course metrics. As you know, I'm big on metrics. The values drive the behaviors and working norms of the intervention and methods. Overall, as a facilitator or change agent, you want to ensure that you are engaging the people that are affected by the change and will ensure the change will be successful. To me, those common attributes were goal orientation, resilience, creativity, positivity, sense of purpose, cooperation, diversity, and collaboration. The model really talks about the method we are choosing as the intervention to change. So facilitators and change agents must be really connected with the model they chose and make sure that the model is the right model for the group that they're in to have credibility with the change of the intervention with the team members. The structure of the event must be clear, and the facilitator must be able to drive the change through the method chosen in order for the method to be implemented successfully. So what did we learn through going through the process of the affinity diagramming and the mind mapping? It's really my experience, and then it's human nature, is you have to see it to believe it. And you have to engage the change process. And when change agents can physically show the people that the change is going to affect, how the change is going to make things better, then you get the engagement process. So to me, these are interactive methods that not only engage people in the change process, but also show it visually so people understand really what they're trying to change and get a good sense of the why. So in reflecting on the last few weeks where I've been really focused on this project, some of my key findings are that change is an ongoing process. No matter what method you choose to get there, it's going to be ongoing. And even within the 6 design elements, I found that there were 5 common themes which at any point could show up in any one of those 6 design elements. And those are vision, collaboration, engagement, purpose, and structure. So, in the end of it, those are my reflections, and that is the end of the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I appreciate your time and attention to my presentation. Thank you very much.